Hello, my name is DJ Hughes and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about Doctor Who and I wanted to talk about Series 10 on its finale's anniversary. I think it's been around for about 4 years now, and today being the 1st of July was the day that the final episode of Series 10 aired, hence I'm doing this video on this day. But I've been watching it again since I bought the Steelbook, and I've been rewatching it and thinking about it more and actually found new appreciation for it than I did when it originally aired. Now, I think I've watched it a couple of times, but I just felt like there was something missing. But now, I think that it's actually a rather solid series. Today, I'm going to give you my points and my evidence of why I think that it's the most underrated series of New Who. So let's start off with Capaldi. I think that Capaldi's Doctor had a lot of rough patches of going through different sort of versions, and they weren't quite sure what they wanted to do with him, and I think that this was probably the pinnacle. Capaldi is really good at kind of drawing the line between being the kind of Sixth Doctor, being the kind of smug, kind of vile Sixth Doctor at times, and the kind of everything's a joke of the 13th Doctor, which is a bit grating. And in a dangerous situation, something like that, you kind of lose any sense of danger when the Doctor's talking about, oh, my fam, it seems silly. And Capaldi's really good at being able to kind of draw that line and say something silly and kind of witty, but also allow that danger to continue.
You've been lecturing here for a long time, like 50 years, some people say. Nabila in the office says over 70.
Yeah, and you're thinking, well, he doesn't look old enough.
No, I'm wondering what you're supposed to be lecturing on.
As for the companion, Moffat had a really tricky situation here. He's just lost Clara in Series 9. He had to kind of have a companion. The best case scenario, would be not to have one, but a whole series that a companion would be a bit odd because the Doctor would have no one to bounce off against. So Bill was introduced, and I think Bill has a great arc from her appearance to her last appearance. She's played really well. She has a great personality, the fact that she has 12 episodes, but I feel like I know Bill more than I know Yaz, and Yaz has had 20. Sure, some of the stuff she says I think is a bit on the nose, but I think that she still is a really great companion with a great arc. The moment that she dies and becomes a Cyberman is truly horrific, and it sticks in your mind for a couple of days after you watch that episode. The mother thing is quite sweet, a little bit too sentimental for my liking in Doctor Who, but it's Doctor Who, it's a kids show at the end of the day. I'll let it pass. And there's the water girlfriend thing. Now, I feel like if their relationship was fleshed out a bit more, then it'd be a little bit more interesting. But, they just couldn't, or maybe they put more things to her return, like have, Bill crying at moments when she's like, oh, I'm crying, and she doesn't know why. Not just the final episode. The series contains a plethora of great episodes. So you've got episodes such as Knock Knock, Smile of all things. The episode about the emoji robots is actually a good episode. We were all really concerned that it wasn't going to be very good, but it turns out that it was actually quite an enjoyable story. We have episodes such as Thin Ice, which is a nice little kind of isolated story with a cool little idea. You've got episodes such as World Enough and Time, which is probably one of the best Capaldi episodes. You've got The Doctor Force, which is an epic finale. Sure, it has a couple of episodes that are a bit rough, like The Eaters of Light. Empress of Mars was worse than I originally thought it was. I think it's just too silly. British people on Mars somehow. It's very cartoony, and I don't really like that aspect. But every series has an odd episode that doesn't really work. Series 1 had The Long Game, but that doesn't mean that Series 1 is a bad series. I think the production of the series is really good. The costumes are excellent, the camera work is great. Even with an episode such as Empress of Mars, it's actually still a pretty nice episode to look at with all of the work that they've done in terms of the set and the costumes. There's a lot of steampunk sort of vibes going on there, which is vibes. This series has the Monk Trilogy, and I think overall the Monk Trilogy is a bit of a disappointment. Episode 1's quite nice, but I like the kind of the idea that they would attempt it. It takes up nearly a third of the series, but it's still a pretty nice, a nice little thing to sit through. One thing that would have made that finale absolutely incredible would have been if in the trailers for the show they didn't decide to put the Master in. John Simm's Master reveal would have been incredible if we didn't know it was coming. Imagine if you're watching that episode for the first time and you don't know anything about John Simm's return, and then you see his return after, 5 years since the end of David Tennant. you know, that would be absolutely incredible and one of the best cliffhangers in Doctor Who history. They went and had to put it in the Coming Soon trailer, which I think really ruined and soured the whole thing. The other issue I have is that I feel like too many episodes end quite quickly and quite easily. Smile, I think, is the biggest example of this. But, you know, it's the journey, not the end. And they're still pretty fun episodes, even if they end quite quickly with a lot of sort of technical babble. They're still pretty enjoyable. So what did you think of Series 10? Did you think it was actually any good? Did you think it was just a load of rubbish? I think it definitely has a couple of issues, but I think overall it's a pretty good series and one of Capaldi's best, so I'm quite happy with it. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you go like and subscribe if you are new, and I shall see you soon.